What's up, YouTube? In this video, I'm talking about the Christian Wood trade where he was sent from the Houston Rockets to the Dallas Mavericks. We'll break down a little bit of the details there and just give my personal opinion. Before we do, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on the video. Let me know what you think, what you thought about this move, and what you think it means for the Mavericks moving forward. But let's start off with Dallas and just the trade details here. So Christian Wood goes to the Dallas Mavericks. In return, the Houston Rockets received the 26th pick in the draft, which they later moved. And then they also received the contracts of Bojan Marjanovic, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris. So kind of up front, these are players, these four players that Dallas sent over to Houston weren't really players that were in their rotation during the playoffs. And so it seems really good that they're able to get a guy who I believe is going to start for them, for four guys who just didn't really have any impact in the postseason at all. Houston, why they do the trade is because they get the 26th pick out of it. They ended up moving that pick again in the draft. And there weren't really any teams, I believe, that were willing to attach a first-round pick to get Christian Wood. I don't think NBA teams evaluated him and said that they were willing to bring him on for that price. And so Dallas got us, they see that the 26th pick is something that they had. They moved it, and they were able to do that. On the opposite side, there's Christian Wood, who goes to Dallas, obviously the best player in the trade. And so Dallas gets this center upgrade, but he does come with a little bit of risk. There had been character issues throughout his career in college, also when he was with Detroit, and then there was an issue a little bit with Houston these last couple seasons. There was a story about him being frustrated within the team. You can definitely tell that there was kind of peaks and valleys to his season this year where he looked really good, but other times he just wasn't there and he wasn't really involved. And so I think there's a little bit of an effort issue with Wood. But one thing with him is that he's never really been a part of a winning team or a winning organization, and Dallas is looking to become that. And they've made the playoffs these last few years, and so they're that team now. And I think with a little bit of stability, Christian Wood, hopefully those character issues can move away. We've seen it time and time before in the league, but we have seen issues that kind of persist and can potentially maybe even ruin morale or ruin kind of the flow of the team. I don't think that will happen with Wood. I think he'll fit right in, and I think he'll be excited about being a guy who can play in the postseason. The other thing with Wood is just the lack of defense. We'll talk about his positives in a minute, but the lack of defense is a little bit of an issue. I don't think he's a great rim protector. I don't think he's a great guy who can play in space defensively and defend in space. And again, effort's kind of a big thing, and that's a lot of what defense is just effort. And so if he's not willing to provide that, this could be a big bust for the Mavericks. But again, the risk was very low with them not really giving up much. And so I like that trade for them in that regard. So enough kind of dumping on Wood. Other kind of things that I like from him are just his ability to be a good guy who can easily go get 20 and 10. He's a good rebounder, which I think Dallas needs. He's a guy who can stretch the floor and be able to shoot the three. There's many times with Houston this year where he was able to just be able to take the ball, bust out, and be able to get a rebound, and then be able to take the ball himself and really create a little bit of offense. Now, is it the most efficient thing? No. His numbers shooting-wise this year weren't great, but if you look at the year before with Houston, they actually were pretty solid. I think he's a little bit kind of a perimeter player that is just tall and can play as a center, but he has the ability to kind of make take the ball and shoot a little bit off the bounce. I know it's not, again, the most efficient thing ever, but he's a guy who can be able to make plays, shoot from the perimeter, be a good roll man for Luka, and we'll see. I don't know how much of his usage is going to. I don't think his usage goes up at all from what we saw in Houston, so his numbers are going to come down a little bit. But I think he's a good kind of a center for the Mavericks going into this next season. The other quick negative, now that I just came to mind, was I think Houston did not want to extend Wood. I mean, obviously they didn't want to, so they moved off of him. Now Dallas has to work that into their payroll. So he is an unrestricted free agent next offseason. And so he'll have this one-year deal essentially with Dallas. And they'll have to see and evaluate, like, what do we want? And I think that will motivate him to play play with a lot more energy and a little bit more effort. But that is a decision for Dallas to make, and so they could potentially get locked up with a guy who does come with some question marks. But if he plays well and fits into the team and how they play, I think it could be, we could pay dividends for them. This essentially handcuffs the Mavericks from moving any other player, really. I think they can make trades. There's Tim Hardaway, there's Bertans, there's the whole Jalen Brunson situation as well. But I don't really see them making other additional moves. I think their playoff rotation is set. What we saw from this last year is pretty much there, and the majority of it is returning. Again, the big decision for Dallas is going to be Jalen Brunson, and we'll get into that in another Dallas Mavericks centered team preview of their offseason plans. Make sure to be on the lookout for that. And yeah, so I don't see any moves coming from Dallas after this one. The team again provides they needed rebounding, and that's what Wood provides. I think he's very, very good in that regard, and I just think that this is a good move for them. But it is a little bit of a wait and see. From Houston's end, just to really quickly note and kind of what this trade means for them. Obviously, their center man is now gone, their main dude. But that opens up some time for the future of the team, which is what they should have been doing last year. So Wood being gone now provides more minutes for other players. Specifically, it will provide more opportunity for the third pick in the draft, who was Jabari Smith. He'll come in, be able to play that role a little bit for Houston and step into something where that share of the offense is now gone, and he'll be able to slip right in along with Alperen Sengun. I think Sengun was really, really a solid player this last year. I think he still has some question marks defensively, but Sengun's going to be a guy who I think is going to really benefit from this, and so be on the lookout for him to have a good year for the Rockets this year. But that's it. That's pretty much this trade. I don't really do winners and losers of trades just because we need to see it play out. We'll probably review this during the season. But yeah, feel free to, again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. What do you think about Christian Wood landing with Dallas? Is it big time? I don't know if he'll be an all-star, but he'll definitely be a contributor to Dallas and be really good with Luka. So again, feel free to like the video. We'll see you later. And yeah, have a good one.